Alright, and we are back for another episode of the challenge series. We are in the second of 3 episodes for Tier S. And even though Tier S isn't even halfway done yet, a lot of the other tiers for their second go have already received a few new entrants. And some going and some coming in, some going out. It's a mess down there in the lower tiers. There's a lot of people fighting for 15 spots, and most of them are, well, going to be the same ones that got them last time. So it's something. Anyway, as you look there at the point standings, I covered them at the end of the previous episodes, so I guess just mainly look for where Wolf and Gina are in relation to Eric on the starting grid as we head into Zandvoort. Be a chance for a swing here at Zandvoort. Gina and Ryan, second and third on the starting grid. Eric is 9th, so it's not like it's unworkable from there, but Zandvoort's not the easiest track to overtake at. Certainly not compared to the last 4. So, however, Eric does have a pretty decent cushion. He has 13 points, so even if the results even panned out as they are now, he would still lead the points by like 2. Why am I in that camera? No thank you. Ah, there goes the HUD. Ryan and, well, more importantly, I guess Gina doesn't get away too well. Ryan's gonna try for the lead into turn 1. But the C9 has good handling, but Sotokov went wide there. Does Ryan take advantage? He's certainly trying. Ivan in the grass, but now Ivan has the inside, and I think Ryan will still lose. Yes, so Ivan just about hangs on to his lead from the outset here. I was like really confused. Who was that in third? That's just because I returned to the pit lane and was therefore like latitude, like geographically further ahead on the track than everyone else was. It's weird, because the pit lane where my stall is, I was the first stall, was technically ahead of the start-finish line. It's always odds are high that it's a bit of a funeral procession here. Also, Taylor's done well off the start, despite, I mean, I guess this is a classic Formula 1 track with a classic Formula 1 car, but I guess she also hasn't had to pass the fastest opponent. She's passed a Z4 and a Maserati MC12. Still, it's something, and it'll obviously help her get points at the end of the race, because those two cars are going to be hard to pass here. Eric, meanwhile, speaking of, is attempting to pass one of them, trying to pass Katsumi, and there it goes. Curbs. Just about didn't pass it, instead passed into the grass, but he kept the car just about on the track. Controlling the front of the grid, but not the lead. They're kind of near it, but not at it. Eric apparently got some front end damage. I don't think that'll really matter too much. If it's not a Formula 1 car, that's not going to make a huge difference. Ooh, my earbuds don't even fit in my head. Miyako still in, 9th, still getting up like 2 points. If she finished here, it would leave Isabella as the lone driver to score no points. However, with the two 962s on her, I'm not convinced that'll happen, unless they begin to argue amongst each other. If Stephanie can harness the increased power of the long-tail model, that could happen, but I think it's too late for it now. Nope, because Miyako can brake way later. with so much more downforce on that GT3 car. I only wish we had more GTEs in this game. The Corvette's the only one, and that's why it's slightly better than the GT3. It's a GTLM car. It's got just like 20 more horsepower, weighs a few less pounds, but it's not exactly a night and day difference. But if we had like the 488 GTE Aston Martin were in this game, they would be faster and therefore be a little more competitive in this category than the GT3 cars are. As I think Miyako has been consumed by the Porsches. Yes. Well, two of them anyway, and there's still a third one, but... Not a ton happening. And the only one that's really a surprise right now is that Taylor is in 6th place still. Ready to challenge that assessment. And considering we're about to hit the front straightaway, I don't think Taylor has much in it for much for him. And as soon as he gets around Taylor, which is going to be right about now, he'll just have plenty of clear track where he has to catch the, well, kind of small gap between him and 5th place Diedrich Hammer. It is, Ryan Wolf is basically just interrupting the Group C show right now, as everybody else in the top 5 is a Group C car. The 962 is kind of missing the party. Probably because they started there. Probably didn't help. Stephanie literally started last and is still going to score. Schwartz, meanwhile, the other Porsche has now overtaken Miyako. So, minus me and Taylor, really, it's kind of what you'd expect for the drivers that won't be scoring. And even still, Schwartz is actually getting really close to the other Porsches. He may have half a chance, if not to pass one of them, maybe, then he can at least maybe take advantage as Travis tries to pass Yoshiro, but again, GT1 cars can brake just a little bit later because they have some semblance of aerodynamics on their car. Ryan under massive threat from Gina, but his horsepower is going to kind of carry him away from that. As you can see. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Eric sets the fastest lap. Several tenths faster than anybody else, but because of where he started, isn't really going to get any higher than 6th place. Perhaps that's for the best. At least in the interest of having an interesting championship fight and Eric not running away with it. And Ryan, the bit of a lockup, he's clearly feeling that rotary-powered pressure behind him. But with only one more passing zone left on the track, I don't know if Gina really can do anything about him. Yeah, no, nothing. So, Ivan Sotokov is going to win the race. Gina had a run on him there, but it doesn't matter because the McLaren P1 has so much unbelievable amount of horsepower that it really did make a difference. Taylor places 7th to bring home good points for a car that maybe wouldn't have been there if she didn't start on the grid so high. Actually, no, she only started 8th, so she went up a place during the race by passing Yoshiro, who really didn't do much in this race. Yoshiro and Miyako, but Miyako's not done anything yet, so that really isn't anyone's real surprise. Only now an 8-point lead. And Wolf still in striking distance. Darius almost within 1 race worth of points. He is 17 back. But it's really only a 4-car battle. There's nobody else that's really in the fight right now, besides those top 4. Hammer, very far removed from it. Only has like half the points that Eric does. And we have a track where I would expect that Ferrari to do very well at the Red Bull Ring. The game seems to like Ivan today. He starts on the pole once again here at Red Bull Ring. I almost said Barcelona. No, he already did that one. Eric starting 11th, but Gina not really getting any better with 12th. So it's up to Ryan to probably take 2nd place in points away from her. She may even be passed by Darius as well if she doesn't move up the grid a little bit. However, considering the likes of Isabella and Miyako start ahead of her, I would be surprised if she did find her way into points. Why does it always reset the stupid HUD? Obviously I put it here like this, it's for a reason game. This will likely be one of Isabella's best chances to try and actually score points in a race, which would therefore undoubtedly undisputably leave Miyako as the only driver to not do so, as this is the halfway point of the championship here at Red Bull Ring, and something has happened back there because that is quite a distance. I have to have missed something because Miyako's up in 6th and she did not start there. Oh yeah, I'm not looking for MIY, I'm looking for AKA. Well, that was certainly some attentive driving. Doesn't matter when you're in a car this slow, but yeah, Dedrick, well, didn't do any of the attentive driving thing. Just sorta... Where on earth? I'm literally on top of it, I'm dumb. He just kinda like... bodied Travis off the road. And I think also collected the other 962 while he was at it. And Miyako took full advantage, so that would be what happened. It wasn't really as major as I thought it was, to be perfectly honest. My ear has become itchy. My good lord, we are at a parking lot in turn 3. We have arrived at Target, but in Austria, apparently. I don't know, what the heck. Now, it's made it even easier still for Isabella to bring home some number of points. I thought Robert was in points, but no. Hi, Eric. Eric really didn't get anywhere off the start. He went down 2 places. Even with her very attentive, hands-on getaway, getting up to 6th at one point, Miyako's still gonna net lose places. And even I passed her as I cut away the camera. Ryan Wolf is going to go for the lead on Ivan. This is definitely a top speed track, no doubt, and the P1 and FXK have that in droves. So I would expect them, even with Eric starting 11th, I would expect those two hypercars to be the dominant forces at this track. Though Eric is definitely going to have work to do, because he's in 11th, and there's quite a separation between himself and good points. I mean, he's about to put himself in points right now if he gets around Gina anytime soon. A task on which he appears to be taking his sweet time. Meanwhile, Riley has overtaken Miyako, and Taylor wants to do the same. Yeah, Ryan's just gonna run away with this one. Ryan under a slight threat from the 787B. Once again, I'm sure he's probably used to hearing this thing in his ears. Darius runs the fastest lap of the race. Probably because Eric has a bit of traffic. What the nuts? What on earth happened? I mean, the AI in this game, man, I really don't know. I would say I'm gonna try and fix him, but yeah, there's no point. He's not gonna get points from here anyway. I don't know, like, why he thinks he's out of the race. There's nothing wrong with this car. Just gave himself the idiot penalty? I don't know. Maybe he's trying to make things interesting, as much as I know he's not the kind of person that's like, oh, let me spice things up. No. I know Eric, and I know he should have some sort of valid reason for that, so unless he somehow hurt himself, I don't know. That wasn't really a big crash by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm just confused. These 962s really like to hunt in a pack, don't they? Spo's gonna have a few major problems on her, in her future. Oh my goodness. But Stephanie doesn't seem to like the idea of pack hunting. She's gonna take it all for herself. Isabella goes wide and blocks Travis, so Stephanie will gain herself 2 places for doing really not much other than just staying on the racetrack like a normal person. Isabella Aquero was feeling some sort of pressure there. But considering where 11th place is, I would be surprised if the idea of her scoring was really under any immediate threat. Just to say that she has scored something in this championship. It seems highly likely out of this race. It is a mess back here behind Isabella. I imagine Travis getting caught behind Isabella doing that would probably have created some sort of accordion effect behind him. Gina now runs 9th. She overtook me and all of that, but walked up into that corner of all places. I don't know how you've managed, but here we are. Darius still right there on his toes. However, there's not enough difference in performance between these two cars to really allow a pass. As close as he might be getting, there's just simply no chance. think the best place to keep our attention now is kind of this 6th through 10th area. She doesn't miss the corner this time, crucially. Hammer has overtaken... I think that might be a re-overtake. I don't think... No, Travis was 7th before, so... Yeah, Steedrick Hammer has overtaken him, and will be the first to really put any... well, the next, rather, Stephanie already did. The next to get on Isabella's case regarding 6th. Well, as Ryan begins the final lap of the race. Darius still has the fastest lap, but he hasn't been able to go nearly as fast because he's been behind Ivan, who's clearly not on pace right now. It's only existing in 2nd place because of the massive field separation and Darius not having the horsepower margin to, like, do anything about him. Stephanie now the fastest, and there was a caution there for some reason. But I don't really see a caution. Okay, game. The game just like clickbaited me there. I think Isabella is safe from Diedrich though. This would be the last place where you could really pass. Any other opportunity would be out of desperation and sheer act of caution thrown to the wind, so... And I don't really know if that much effort is worth gaining 6th place. If it was for like a top 3 finish or for the win, then yeah, I could totally see it happening, but... I think you're just smart to just kind of accept 7th. Especially from that distance away, and yeah, Ryan Wolf dominates at Red Bull Ring. Schwartz with a good 4th place. That's a pretty high result for him. Isabella will finally score, and score decently at that with 6th place. I'll manage to half-ass my way into singular points. And a big turning point as Eric is... I also forgot this was supposed to be PG. Oops. And Eric DNFs the race for whatever dumb reason. I couldn't tell you, to be fair. And Miyako continues to finish last in every race. Now Ryan Wolf is the points leader after his victory, and Eric doing seemingly nothing to defend it. I don't know. I'll get some sort of confirmation perhaps in between races, but as I don't know why the heck he just was like, no, I'm done. I've hit something. Clear, my car is broken, even though he had like a dent on his front bumper. I know Ferrari FXXs are expensive, but oh my god. We have world-class mechanics in the garage so they can fix a dented bumper, for crying out loud. Anyway, Mugello. Now the game seems to... No, the game is definitely picking favorites. It seems to really like Ivan and Ryan today. It doesn't really seem to like Eric too much because he starts 10th. Gina starts 12th again, and clearly the last place finishes aren't going to stop for Miyako anytime soon, because now she's just starting there. It's a rough world, you know? Riley and Isabella with pretty good starting positions to try and, like, finagle some points out of the race, starting 3rd and 4th. Quit resetting the stinking HUD! And goodbye, Ryan. We'll see you at the finish line. Isabella's getting aggressive. She's gonna try and steal points from Riley. Riley doesn't seem to want... No, obviously doesn't want that. Thank you, Riker. Thank you, Captain Obvious, but it's not her choice. It is simply not her choice. Isabella, Stephanie, now Diedrich, I'm just gonna continue to be mugged. Especially so if she doesn't get on the correct lane of the track, she wouldn't move over after she got passed by Isabella. Now she's gonna try and pass Diedrich. That doesn't work that way. And she'll finally settle into, I think, 6th. Stephanie hasn't really had many chances to shine in this championship. She keeps getting just dunked on by the starting grid gods, so she hasn't really been able to perform super well in this car. This is arguably her first chance to really produce a result that's representative of what her vehicle should be able to do, but it's just been wrong place, wrong time for her on the grid a lot of times. I mean, she managed to make her way through a Red Bull ring. That was probably her best result so far, if I'm not totally mistaken, but I probably am. But here she has almost a guaranteed podium if she keeps her car clean. Hammer already up 3 places on the first lap. Isabella apparently using the force to block Hammer, but it's not going to matter. He's going to just sneak right by anyway. Riley has been overtaken by Yoshiro. Her car are clearly not on pace right now. Even by the standards set by the car she's in. Is Eric out again? What is your malfunction? Unless it maybe, obviously, it may not have been his fault, but... doing normal-ish things, no, that looks like his fault. Oh yeah, that's his fault. Tire in the grass, Zbinala. This time he elects to continue, but like, why bother? He's like 30 seconds away from everybody. Even though his car is not damaged, there's just no point. Now maybe I can see why, even though like, this time he was actually backwards. And he continued on, but before he was like 30 degrees sideways. I'm done. Also, Stephanie overtook Ivan somewhere during all of that mess. Yeah, Eric has lost the points lead, and he's had a mental blue screen of death ever since, it seems. Stephanie is actually all over Ryan right now. However, the horsepower is going to make that almost impossible. Oh my lord. I know that's hardly professional, but there is just so much of that locked in my stomach right now. I had to get it out, with or without the mic on. Ryan easily probably clearing like 220, not 220, like 210 down the front straightaway. He's gonna break the speed record at this rate. Well, obviously he's not actually going to do that, but he may as well be. Riley seriously looking off her game. I mean, I guess there's obviously the idea to where the car is so inferior, you don't really have anything to prove. Like, I don't know, I guess what do you really have to gain from running in this car? I guess it's just, I don't know. Also, apparently from what I was told at the end of the previous race, the fastest lap, yeah, what does that matter? Nah, he's the fastest car on track. We can see he's capable of being fast. He just kind of needs to not crash. You know? At the same time, though, yeah. The last race was because somehow he could tell that there was something wrong with the engine. The game never obviously said it, because the game didn't know, but he noticed he was down a little bit on turbo pressure. I don't know how Eric knows this stuff, but he did. And he was right. Mechanics looked at it afterwards. His engine was down like 80 horsepower. I don't see how that would have made a huge difference, but I guess it would have been better than wearing out the engine completely. Somehow I have enough on my way into 6th place. Though I started in 7th, so that's not all that impressive, but still. And Gina is on me, but not very aggressively. Once again, Darius is behind a Sauber. I feel like he's probably getting used to seeing those weird circle headlights. And Darius also the fastest on the track. Not even Eric could really deal with it unless he's going faster this lap, which, I mean, maybe. Let's see how fast he gets down the straightaway. Not as much as I thought he would, honestly. Maybe they still haven't fixed the engine, who knows? It just seemed like it would be faster than that. It's the same thing fall on board as Ryan begins to try to fathom is higher than 180. I think it has to be at least a solid 195, probably 200. Tires are incredibly displeased, but I mean they're doing their job, you know. Yeah, I'd say it's more than 180. Holy crap, it was 180 at the start line. 195. Meanwhile, Group C is hitting, well, 185. Almost at 190 basically, so yeah. $170 out of the old F1 car. The real question is, what does the GT3 hit? We don't know, because I didn't flip the camera over in time. Pretty sure it's like 160. I gotta go to drive so I can change the camera back to cockpit. I mean, I did mention that the FXX is really good at acceleration, but it actually doesn't have the greatest top speed. I think it has short gears, the way that Eric has it set up at most tracks. You'd think you'd want them longer here, but here we are. Cornering, aerodynamic grip, who needs all of that? Ryan seems to be proving that all you really need to succeed in the Challenge Series is a lot of horsepower and a good starting grid spot. Stephanie kept him honest, but as he exits this last turn, unleashes the ungodly amount of horsepower in the P1 GTR, and he's gonna win the race 2 in a row and make it a very huge points lead. Ivan with another podium. He's been very consistent this episode. I'm gonna manage 7th place, and Isabella is gonna manage to score something. Gina had the fastest lap. And what do you know, Miyako managed to not finish last. Even ignoring Eric, she managed to finish even ahead of Taylor. McClure wasn't feeling herself today, or something. Now we don't know what has happened to Eric, he's just been off. It is now 19 points between first and, well, the tie for second. Eric is tied with the 787Bs, basically because Darius is only 1 point behind Gina and him. But Ryan Wolf could literally have no points in a race and still have the points lead. And I doubt that's going to happen unless he crashes. So Ryan Wolf is suddenly looking very good as we only have 5 races left to complete. And Monza, I expect, will be another track he will do well at, because it's mostly straightaways. That's kind of where the McLaren P1 wants to be. He picked new favorites. Ivan only starts 8th. Ryan Wolf is going to have a lot of work to do, but if there's any track where I think he can do it, it'd be here, at Monza. Miako starts 3rd, but I don't think that's going to matter. Same goes for Taylor, because this is going to be a top speed track. You can put all of the underdog cars near the front that you want to do game. It's not going to matter because they're all going to get absolutely consumed by all of this down here. Big maybe Taylor scores like a 9th or 10th, but I think that's the best that any of those kind of cars can hope for. Because Miako has done nothing and doesn't have enough top speed for Monza. Put the camera on her anyway. Oh my goodness. Just get used to it, honestly. The inner mechanisms of my stomach are an enigma. And here comes Stephanie. Taylor already got ahead of Miako, which just proves my point that maybe Taylor has some hope, but not her. The Corvette C7 has fine top speed, but it doesn't have enough acceleration to get there in a reasonable frame of time. Especially not when compared to that. So... and definitely not compared to that. Though at the same time, Eric, honestly, just try and keep the car on the road, smart guy. Okay, or not, alright. Heck, whatever I said, you know? I'm trying to help you not make a fool out of yourself, but I guess, you know, here we are. You have been locked. You've been unlocked, and see you later, Miako. Already down to like 9th for her, I think. No, it's 8th. The starting grid, the thing's not updating very quickly. She's 8th. Yoshiro also overtook Riley along the way, and Riley's already about to be, yep, no points. Everyone's got through lap 1 cleanly. Dedrick raced slowly, but he's gotten through it cleanly. Hammer is the leader by over a second. It is, well, the podium is the German show, or the German car show. 200 miles an hour. Ryan Wolf could be doing better, but he's got 2 of the slowest cars on the grid right in front of him. Just gonna push Miako out of the way. Actually, at the same time of doing that, he's also pushed Miako ahead of Yoshiro, so... Oh. Find your lane eventually, you know? There it is. There's the grass, but he's held it. Uh-oh. I'm stupid. Where? There. My God, sometimes I wonder about me. Oh, there's one imposter among us. Jesus! Stephanie didn't give a single ding about anything. You just threw him out of the way. Why can't I find it? There we go. He lifted his rear tires off the ground, pushed him all the way to the corner, and just shoved him off. He's gonna slowly but surely creep his way back to the racing surface. Yeah? Something wrong with your suspension there. You're not really turning right. No? He's just a dodo. Alright, I have to go into drive to change the camera back. My goodness me. Alright, well now Stephanie is in second, because the scan handle system doesn't do anything for the AI. Now we'll get to see the P1 really stretch its legs down the straightaway. It needs to brake so early though because of how heavy the car is, so it doesn't quite hit 200. Eric, not much to very little of my surprise, is pretty quickly making his way to the front of the pack. He's already in third. And if he runs another lap time like that one, he'll probably be at Stephanie's doorstep before the lap is done. In the first episode of the championship, Riley was the underdog, managing to score in a weaker car. This one seems to be Taylor, and in the case of Red Bull Ring, Isabella. The Lotuses have been full of surprises in this episode, as Taylor is running 5th for now. The Lotus is good enough in a straight line, despite what I had assumed, to just about stay ahead. However, no handling, because it's a car from like 1978. Let's see if Gina, I think, will have a relatively easy time making the pass anyway, but yeah, also Stephanie has overtaken Diedrich and didn't have to run him off the road for it. And Eric, well, that's about as simple as you'd like it. The C9 actually can stick with him in the long range, though. Well, that looked klutzy. Well, Ryan has also overtaken Taylor and is on his way after the Mazda driver. Well, the one he isn't already ahead of, at least. So Eric will have take 2 at the Sauber driver. A bit of grass on the tires. Does he sweep on the outside? Well enough. And now he will almost spin out in the grass, but he will, I think, just about maintain second. What I'm basically seeing is Eric's car is very good through gears 1 through 5, but hitting 6th gear makes the car not accelerate very fast at all. Then when compared to the Group C's, which have consistent acceleration across the board. Because they've only got 5 gears anyway. Or maybe they have 6, but they're not using all 6. And goes Ryan into the weirdest passing zone he could have picked for a car that's focused more on power, and as a result, it didn't work. Taylor's still fighting for 7th, like her life depends on it, managing to keep Darius behind her for now, but I can't imagine that's going to stand for much longer. Stephanie is thoroughly out of sight after Eric squabbled with Hammer for so long. She's gonna win a race, finally. And Ryan will go for it into turn 1, which is a more believable passing zone for, well, anyone really. But Gina's not having it. Ryan, trying to find some sort of bizarre weakness or something, just about puts himself in the grass. Meanwhile, Riley is very desperate to not finish last. They've been overtaken by Travis again? Seriously? My god, how? Dude was in the runoff for like 20 seconds and he still got back up to and past those two. Jeez. That means he either drove the hot laps of his life, which really weren't all that fast because Stephanie is 4.5 seconds faster than him, or he really didn't lose as much time as I thought he did. And then you're right, they're also very not close to anybody else. Yoshiro's kind of in the area, but it's another 10 seconds to 11th place, who's fighting himself against Isabella for taking 1 point. Isabella clearly not comfortable right now. And I think she's going to lose that 1 point at the last possible second. Yes. Ryan will manage only 6th. But considering he came from there, that's not a terrible day at the office. And Eric went from 8th to 2nd. Stephanie is the winner of the race. And I don't know why these two are still showing up to the races. To be honest, it seems like they're just wasting their time. So that'll be it for this episode of the challenge series. It is a 12-point lead for Ryan Wolf. Came down a little bit after Eric finally got himself back together and finished 2nd place there at Monza. If any of the Tifosi were watching, they'd probably have been quite pleased. Maybe, I don't know. Typically speaking, they only want to see a win from Ferrari, otherwise they don't really care, but here we are. 4 races to go. I mean, you can see what they are right there. Miyako is still the only driver to score at nothing. And both the F1 drivers, or F1 car drivers of Flynn and Lynn, are down just above her. And I just realized all of the bottom 5 drivers in points besides, well, me, in quotes, are all girls. Gina and Stephanie are the only competitive female drivers this championship. Everybody else, even though there's 7 of them, they're literally almost half the grid is female. They're all the bottom. Other than Stephanie and Gina. So there you go. It's a 7-to-8 ratio. It's about as evenly matched as you can really get it. Because you can't get it evenly matched with a 15 car grid. So there you go.